All right, so I'm going to turn my attention away from the recruiting side of things like I have been the last couple of days and turn it over to more along the lines of Florida State playing their bowl game. First off, I really appreciate all the love and support I'm getting on my social media accounts, and I really appreciate everything that y'all do for me on my YouTube channel, getting closer and closer to that 2,000 subscriber mark. But let's go ahead and get started into it. This is a fan favorite, Trey Benson. Trey Benson was a guy that, as a halfback, everyone was questioning Mike Norvell. Was he being serious? Because Trey Benson had only had about 20 total rushing yards during his career at Oregon, had a major knee injury. Everybody was kind of concerned that it was going to turn into a McKenzie Milton situation again. And you're looking at it now. I mean, this is a situation where he has really blossomed into a player that we all love and enjoy. And you're really looking at his stats so far. He has 141 carries for 965 yards and 9 touchdowns. And the last 1,000-yard rusher that Florida State has had has been Cam Akers. Ironically enough, that is his idol. He came from the Mississippi area originally, and Cam Akers and him were both from the Mississippi area. So it's just something that kind of ironic with that because I think Cam Akers was definitely a bright spot in a kind of a bad pass for Florida State there. That 2017 through 2019 kind of stretch there wasn't great football played by Florida State. And you saw the end of the Jimbo Fisher era, then turned over to Willie Taggart, and the rest is history with that. But just kind of looking over with that, and I know a lot of fans are kind of speculating to see what's going to happen with everything going on. And you kind of have to focus on what Cam Akers did during his time at 2017 with Florida State. I mean, you look at him where he had 181 rushing attempts for 930 yards and 7 touchdowns. He was short after 12 games. You turn around and had the bowl game against Southern Miss, where he rushed for 94 yards and eclipsed that 1,000 yards. He had 1,024 yards in that to finish out the season. That does count towards your postseason success because it is a postseason game for that season. So as you're looking through it now, I mean, Trey Benson is only 35 yards away at this point, and Oklahoma's rush defense is not the greatest in the world. They're averaging 189 yards, allowing to other opponents, and that's, I think, 108th in the country. So when you're looking at that, Florida State's a 9-point favorite at this point. I think there is a very good chance that Cam Akers and Trey Benson can be used in the same sentence because, like I said, this could be a 1,000-yard rusher for Florida State as long as nothing catastrophic happens at this instant. I think Trey Benson's done really well. I mean, you look at some of his stats that he's had. He's had some breakout games against Florida, as we all saw, having 111 yards. He had one against Syracuse where he had 160. Miami had 128. Georgia Tech had 111. And even teams like Boston College, he had that huge kickoff return, plus he had 78 yards. Louisville had 70 yards there. Now, the biggest concern with him going forward there is some of those bigger games that he had. He had the LSU game where he just kind of underperformed, only had 15 yards on 6 carries. He had Wake Forest where he had 4 carries for 10 yards. NC State had 6 carries for 25, and then he had Clemson with 7 with 69. And I think that was partially due because we quit running the ball after the first half because we were down. We had that 4-minute stretch where we kind of turned the ball over a lot. And by the end of it, we were down 20 points and trying to catch up, so you had to pass the ball. Trey Benson has been an efficient piece for us. Even in the Duquesne game, you saw his explosiveness. Now, I understand it's Duquesne. It's a Division II opponent, and you're trying to figure out just your kinks and everything before the LSU game, but it's very encouraging to see him come out like that and be efficient as he was. He started out kind of not really being a pass catcher. I mean, he still had 111 receiving yards, so I think he's more of a do-it-all back now. I'm starting to kind of see the semblance and everything like that. I still think Trayshawn Ward is going to be an efficient piece as well as Lawrence Philly and some of those other guys as well. CJ Campbell is another guy that kind of comes to mind with that also. And Rodney Hill, you can't forget about him because with the redshirt rule. Will he be able to get those 35 yards? I definitely think he can be. I just think it's pretty much if I had to give a confidence spot between 1 to 10, I never say 10. But I think 9.5 would be where I would put that reach for getting that 35 yards and eclipsing a 1,000-yard rusher for the first time since Cam Akers did it in 2019. But I hope each and every one of you have a great Christmas holiday. Going to spend time with family. I know that's very important for a lot of families out there, and I know that some are less privileged than others, but I am very thankful for the opportunity that I have to spread my knowledge and passion for Florida State football. And I really thank each and every one of you because without y'all, none of this would be possible. So really do wish each and every one of you a happy holidays, and I will see y'all next time. Go Noles.